So we'll just wait for a moment, setting a sacred container. Alicia, we're going to do some quantum mechanic conversation and activation. Our favorite awakening topics coming in. So we're just setting up space with Alicia, holding space. And we're utilizing this visual of realizing that our plasma, our light particles are consistently dancing in the etherical body as we are coming into wave form and then showing up, in wave form and then showing up. And so what I'm seeing is this quantum grid across the plane, and I'm looking at when we are quantum jumping into parallel universes and we're quantum jumping into parallel realities. We can utilize dream time, we can utilize waking day, even anytime, to program to those vortices. And so let me talk about how I program those vortices. And we can look at how they kind of come together as we are all awakening to this quantum mechanic realm of our existence that's always existed, but we're unbinding ourselves out of the chakra system, out of all old systems, or all that's been defined, to what's beyond that. And what's beyond that is our new technologies, our new systems coming online, our new vortices, our new path, and then the field of the path of how you're showing up in form is there's new consciousness coming online, and new, I want to say, like apparatus or technology or formation beyond what we would have looked at in our light body. These new creation points and creation vortices of our formation are being seen and felt and experienced in new ways. So let me come back. So I'm just sharing a few ways of quantum jumping in the field. And so one way we talk about is we do breath work together, and we utilize, activating and bringing awareness and stimulating and squeezing and retaining the breath at each of the vortices of the chakra system. And as we do that, we use that suspension of breath to kind of power up, fuel up, and utilize the life force, the extra kundalini, the extra plasma that's being birthed through that participation with your formation of light. And then we jump to a place that we feel good. So we feel as if, and we like drop our hand to our heart to make sure that we feel, as we visualize where we're heading in that quantum jump, and we feel the frequency, we embody the frequency of that parallel jump of what we're looking for to land into. And then with the feeling and the visual and the intention and the awareness, we quantum jump into that reality, and we drop into it and bring ourselves into our own initiation and activations by just simply asking for such. And so in this quantum, I'm just speaking of a couple ways that I quantum jump and the reality. And so just doing that inner jump, inner teleporting, this is where we have gone interstellar. So we're coming out of, let me pause this filter. Anyways, I don't really know how to pause it, but okay, we'll just go with it. Okay, so as the one way I want to share about doing interstellar. So this is why we go in through our inner gates, and we initiate ourselves through different gateways within our own vortices, within our own stellar satellite system, our stellar gateways within our channel. And we also, do you want me to talk about that right now? Not yet. Okay. So we go up and we allow for these, our own initiations through the interstellar gateways of ourself, and we literally, through frequency of embodiment, the larger embodiment, the higher the vortice that you're able to stargate through, the larger packet of plasma that you exist as, the larger packet of monadic consciousness, as a teacher of the monad today, consciousness coming through strong, of that we're these bigger, formations of light beings together, and we monadically, which means a tribe of beings, have a similar resonance, and they're working together. And there's all different types of, monadic configurations. You can think of, 9 billion of us and how we all came together. So, and how we've been coming together in cycles, in dimensional cycles, in frequency cycles. So dimension is frequency. And so these higher frequencies, these higher dimensionalities, and these higher frequencies that we're able to sustain and maintain within our central channel and be able to micro-vortice focus and bring, up the channel, down the channel, super consciously, and doing exercises of realizing that you're super consciously embodying a frequency and then jumping to it just through your command, interstellarly. I know I'm kind of jumping in several different files, and I'll hopefully meet each file that I'm bringing up right now. So is that all I need to communicate about that part? No. So why, they're telling me, why do we suspend the breath? So why are we pulling it in and we're closing each vortice or stimulating each vortice at gate 1, the root chakra, 2, 3, 4. Why are we stimulating and squeezing, retaining the breath? Is because we're building pressure to teleport, to jump. And we're pulling out of these lower dimensional doorways and lower dimensional reality fractality, places where you triggered out because of fight or flight out of the lower doorways and fractaled out a reality and entangled yourself in a portal, in a reality, in a, out some cycle, some space or place that maybe you're no longer wanting to do. And so I've been working with a lot of you. I think a lot of you are on this. Like, you came to me in meditation a couple days ago when we started going deep diving into this grid work and being transparent and coming to the table together to get her together. We were closing down the lower dimensional doorways. Let's just do that. Everywhere lower dimensional doorways need to be closed down. Any just lower fractality that you want to pull back your photonic light back up through the channel, squeeze it. Let's go ahead and squeeze that up. And you're bringing that energy out of those fractalities, places where you fractaled out those doorways, those gateways, and you're pulling it in and stabilizing. And what's happening is we can sustain and maintain and allow ourselves to channel more light. So March happiness is, a source was telling me for us all to do March happiness and get our bare feet all month, all day, bare feet to the earth, and stimulate an awakening of a mass amount of people going barefoot. So as we allow ourselves to sustain and maintain our central channel, luminescent light coming through, and maintain stability, then these higher gateways are activating and opening within ourselves. We're initiating ourselves. We're you're able to get the light up the channel that far, and then, cascade and bring the light back through and around, from eternity back through a toric field. For some of you, you've unbound yourself from chakras and unbound yourself from the toric field. Not to say that you're not utilizing those structures anymore, but you allowed yourself to go quantum liquid, quantum unknowable, quantum mechanic. And for those of us who are in that realm, that's the thing I wanted to make sure I spoke about. It's been a realm of deep diving and understanding in the deep void right now, because we're beyond the grids that we traditionally had placed, because we unbound ourselves from that as well. And we're witnessing ourselves in these greater spacious places where we have set grids already up, or we're setting up grids, or we're experiencing a higher formation of ourselves in a multidimensional nature. And so our multidimensionality is coming fully online. And so the first way I talked about, doing quantum jumping and being in your multidimensionality and practicing with it is by doing, frequency jumps, getting yourself into that frequency, do the breath work, and then just feel as if, see it, feel it, and then allow yourself to go to sleep. And as you rise, realize you're going to walk yourself into that experience. Okay, you're going to start to instantly quantum jump yourselves into opportunities. Maybe some of you, I notice there's some popping on and off. How's it going with the reception? Just somebody let me know. How's the sound? I had to take it off my Wi-Fi in order to channel up. Alicia, how's the sound doing before I move on? Okay, good. Both of you Alicias are good. Okay. Okay, so quantum jumping, frequency hopping, okay. And then the other tips and tricks and reminders as we're coming online in our quantum realms is we're realizing that in the zone, this is why I love that movie that came out, the kids movie, Soul. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Lots of code in it. I don't really recommend a lot of movies, but that one had a really good, just powerful bridge points for those who need to come into a higher realization around transition of, death, out of the death codes into the eternal life codes. Yeah, so, okay, so coming back, let me stay focused here. I want to make sure I get all these points. So as our multidimensional nature is being realized, we're realizing that in the zone, in the places that we may dream with, our lucidity and dream time. Okay, got that off. Our lucidity awakening into the dream and really becoming very lucid and in all time, all space. We're able to witness that, there's got to be multiple timelines going on and multiple spaces and places going on because you're living in them. And you really have to allow yourself to release any resistance that they might not all go together. They might be jumpy. They might be quantum jump kind of consciousness where you have multiple realities living themselves out. And this is really important for you to realize that you came here to experience all of it. You desire all of these realities for a reason. So fully embody them, fully embody yourself in that dimensionality, in that realm, and find out why are you there, and digest it, take it in for the full merger and the full embodiment and the full allowance of everything you came here to check off, everything you came here to experience, so that you can arrive into higher initiations of yourself as the alchemist here and come into greater mastery levels. Because you're not just chasing your subconscious of those desires, you're actually realizing them and experiencing them in all the realms and all the dimensionalities and timelines in the waking day, as well as dream time itself. Digest it all, it's all there for a reason. You are here to awaken yourself to the full embodiment of all your desires, because all your desires is you showing up fully to love and fully to bring full light. So it's a time to really press into yourself and make love to yourself. Find the access points of your technology, of your body. How do you stay turned on? When you stay turned on, everything around you is turned on. Everything is living. If everything's not living and turned on around you, then you haven't illuminated that aspect of the light body yet. But when you find this deep joy, it can be found in nature. That's a really great place if you haven't found that way to tap into that self-love, sensation and turned on. Then get into nature barefoot, I was just talking about for this March, let's do a quantum challenge for all of us to be barefoot so that we can stream massive light and share with your friends, go barefoot, make a statement of it, like let yourself fully channel and not implode. Okay, we gotta like share that band-aid off. Like, let's get the shoes off. Okay. And that's going to assist with the quantum jumping because you're going to keep your frequency flowing and not imploding. And you can reroute your consciousness to be able to go through rubber. But I'll tell you what, no matter how much conscious work and how much, well, they're laughing at me right now. There's about to be a massive jump in ability. But in the recent level of consciousness that I've been embodying, it's been much easier to just take my shoes off than to try to, dissolve the program of rubber. Okay. Quantum jumping, there's just a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Oh, when you want to go experience something, the typical like vision boards consciousness, maybe you did that and it was a slow arrival. If you do that now, it's a fast arrival because we are in our multidimensional quantum existence. We have, fully illuminated all realms. And as all realms are palpable and tappable because you are fully channeling yourself and your existence here, realize that the little bit of effort you put in is a huge jump. You can, look at pictures of where you want to go. You can have a friend send you pictures of where they are and you can quantum jump to them in dreamtime. And then that dreamtime fractality then will slow down to a waking day reality where all of a sudden you're there or you're there in a similar parallel of it and experiencing it alongside of your friend. So pictures are really fun to play with. Research it, look at the map, look at the grid of it, and realize that all these vortices along the existing grid and the bigger grids that we're opening up, I want to talk about that in a minute, you can jump into those spaces and places just by looking at a map. It'll give you, a liftoff as you're going to actually get there. And so again, this slowed down consciousness we've been in has all of this coding in it. It shares with, we have always known that we write something down, we create it, how the creation process happens, how we alchemize reality, but it's quicker now. And so let's also talk about non-locality in quantum. So our non-local, as we've come out of being in one space and we realized that we were quantum and we got used to dissolving into the quantum field through meditation, we, in the quantum realm of being able to dissolve, we've allowed ourselves to actualize in whole new realities in multi-dimensional ways and spaces. There's something that just took me off to the side. I wanted just to notice that so Desmo, I notice here, this has been going on the past, 7 lives, that there's one being that will come off and on, and it shows me that you're holding a strong assistance of space holding, Jay, as well as it's almost like your energy is rerouting all the times we see you coming on this live. I know when it goes to a replay later, people aren't going to see how many times it shows his name coming up. When someone pops on your Facebook live, it says so-and-so just popped on. Okay. Gaia Man was one of the first men to show up that way and hold space that way, and he just commented. Okay, so I lost my train of thought. If anybody can tell me where I was at last, otherwise I'm just going to keep going and hopefully we come back to what I was getting to. I know we were talking about being able to, hold on. Let's just connect our hands to our hearts. We're diving into some big topics, and I want to really make sure that we arrive at this sharing in the most wise and precise way. This is something that also I was guided to make sure I was very wise and precise in sharing what I'm sharing. So let's just hand to our heart for a moment. And stabilizing in the quantum realm, asking that anything that needs to release and clear so that we can allow ourselves to arrive into new spaces and places. Okay, good. Yeah, now I'm seeing it. So non-location. We've come through our understanding that as we moved from just understanding particle consciousness to wave, like, oh wait, I can go to meditate and turn to a wave by letting my brain waves slow down and then speed up to gamma. And I can turn to a wave and, find that frequency in my imagination and embody it and literally allow my body to heal and jump quantumly into that higher version of myself. Wow, I can do that. Okay, so I can go from, location to non-location and allow myself to dissolve out of just thinking I'm right here in this room to I'm everywhere, because I am. I'm space, I'm everything. And I'm light particles everywhere. And I'm becoming super conscious of where those light particles have been in existing grids and timelines, and have been consistently for 20 years folding in anything I find to fold in and bring back myself and reconcentrate myself as a super light being. And then was asked to dissolve all that and like drop in to, pure primordial space consciousness that I am, that we are. And so that non-location took us out of being from just one place to everywhere, to omnipresent stance. And so now we're ready, we're like maturing into our quantum understanding that we can actually jump all over that field. And it's not going to make a lot of sense unless you are communicating with your consciousness so that it can make sense, and ask for your super intelligence to help you understand of what's going on. Utilize your own systems, work with systems that are easy for you. We've got the Akashic Soul app. If you don't know how to use it, message me. Let's make sure you know how to use that tool. This is the realm that it was for where we're headed, where we are in the quantum realm. And so it doesn't, like I was going to say, it doesn't make a lot of sense unless you inquire within to have it make sense. Or you just get downloads because your consciousness just has these buckets of download that you understand through your own way. And all of us are having that. And we're having massive awakening to that understanding. And a lot of us are having we're just learning how to actually speak about it and communicate. And for me, like me communicating it helps me understand it and witness it, whether I'm self-communicating or I'm, sharing codes with another one of you, and we ask each other questions, or we sit together and all of a sudden the information just starts arriving because we're inquisitive. So this is the inquisitive realm of these quantum jumps into quantum realms. And so my question to consciousness at this moment is like, rather than having it be random jumps all the way around, or is it random jumps, or are we realizing ourself in each of those quantum timelines? Source consciousness, do you have the answer to this? Is it both? Is it the first, second? You're realizing yourself in all those. So by super concentrating a version of yourself, does that version of yourself has a better way of understanding when it's asking about the others, correct? And is that complete? Yeah. So can I share that? Yeah. So if you didn't catch that, what I just witnessed, my own consciousness reveal in this now, and it can always shift and change, and it can always be different for you, because we are all here at different vortices of our own making, of our own initiation, of our own existence, and we're understanding, what's happening in our flow. So what I just got to discover was like, you super concentrating your essence here right now and doing, all the work that you've been doing to show up and embody, as you witness other vortices that you are living at, as you all of a sudden experience another timeline of yourself and another existence. That is another version of you existing in that other timeline, but the version of you that you are super concentrating and getting to know and embody so well almost seems to have the vantage point to be the one who's asking the question, so that consciousness to better understand it. And I hope that makes sense. Yes. And will there be a time in our awakening where we'll actually be able to fully operate all of those aspects, all of those other timeline selves with the same greater clarity that the super concentrated one in this example? Is that true? Show me. Oh, interesting. It's talking about just jumping into those other versions and fully embodying those versions. Okay. And do you want them to have more just deeper dive of their own inner initiation before playing with that or working with that? Or is that advised? That's just going to start happening more rapidly, and they're just mainly talking about it's, you know, each of us have our own inner guidance. It'll be different, but you're playing with it. They said you guys are you're doing it, and you're just going to have more rapid, like, dropping into that with more clarity. And then there was another realization when I was just watching that. Hold on. So as you awaken to the dream, to all these timelines, to all this creation, all this dream, all of this existence that you are and that you're holding and that you're embodying, you developing your own inner guidance, you know, communication system is key. And I always share with everyone I work with, it's super important that you address who you're talking to. Like, if your consciousness as an umbrella does not speak, you know, does your monadic consciousness, your oversoul consciousness, does you know, source consciousness, the unknowable consciousness, does your angels, you know, or your angelic self consciousness want to speak? Is there some aspect of consciousness? Is there that dimensional life that you just witnessed? Does that consciousness want to speak? And when you address whatever consciousness you get a yes to, and you keep addressing that consciousness by name, it's like a straight telephone line, and it will bypass anything from jumping in and giving you mixed, you know, communication. So I highly suggest that for those who are waking up to their interdimensionality, so you can better understand and stay calm and enjoy the experiences and enjoy your up-leveling into the higher realms that we've always existed as, and really allow for that fuller embodiment of this greater consciousness that we are. And then there was something else. One sec. Okay, so this is the other part where I was talking about, like, closing lower dimensional realities or lower versions of yourself. Like, anywhere there's a lower version, you know, consciousness or reality or timeline that you are existing at, and there's a doorway open to that you want to upgrade the whole plane. Like, you want to lift the whole thing to the highest dimensional or highest frequency ever to embody in all of your multidimensionality. Ask for that. Let's ask for that. So anything that wants to collapse, or any of your energy that wants to come back out of any of the other versions, or rise up into, quantum jump up into that higher frequency of the whole grid that you be, the whole bigness that you be. Again, and closing down anything, any vortice, anything that you were unknown or known, gave your permission or didn't, that your greater and super intelligence knows what's to do right now, and it's folding in all of that. Just witness it and wait till you feel complete. Use your imagination. Trust. This is another thing. Trust your super being. Like, get down in your central channel as a full beam of light, and like command these things, and own your existence. Own the whole thing. And when it feels like something's off, it is. Back it out, send it back to source, its source, and know who you are in your multidimensional travel. That's something else I wanted to speak to us about, that know how to communicate and how to be big, how to get down in there and send anything else to source. That's been just for those of us who've had any kind of, where you felt like you were taken, or, you know, someone was in your seat, in your own channel seat, hijacked, all of that conscious, anywhere you are allowing that or you're doing that, let's dissolve all that right now, all that programming. Activate full sovereignty of your central channel, full sovereignty of your multidimensional nature, full brilliance and genius back in this understanding of what you're capable of, what you've always been doing in the quantum realm, in the quantum mechanic that you are. Fully activate. Allow that light to stream in, and then allow yourself to now all DNA activate connected to this, fully illuminate. Let your cosmic spirals of DNA reach up into the eternity that you be, so that all light that you are, all light that you be is turning on. Telomeres lengthen, supporting us on this activation. Anything that needs to be cleared, dissolved, dismantled in any realm connected to your quantum mechanics that is not going to serve your experience, go ahead and dissolve all that. Okay. And then I want to come back. So stabilizing who we be, stabilize. And then I want to come back and talk about the non-location coming into location. So what I've been noticing is it's, you know, it's been a time in, I've been asked to stay in for quite a few years. And it's finally been a time of, I've been in training, going out to like local places and ecstatic dancing and, you know, doing massive plasma building in the field, in the grid that's local to me, to beaches and trails and springs. And, you know, that feels like training to like expanding the grid and going from, you know, being in one space, but being in non-local presence, like really feeling as I sit that there's nowhere to go. I think a lot of us on here have that experience. Like it's all here right now, and there's nowhere really to go but to sit and stay in bliss mode and flow state. And if travel has had you all in your flow state traveling, that's also awesome. But it's with the recent, you know, collapse and what we've collapsed out of, that just wasn't the case. So as we're collapsing out of the latter, you know, 3D reals in this realm that we have a commonality to, we are now venturing into new territory. And so a lot of it's being done in our quantum states, in our travels in dream state, lucid wise, in our lucid meditation practices, and in just us doing it, you know, going and taking a trip, and really we're opening up new continents is what the topic I want to touch on now is. We're opening new spaces and places where something may have been one way. You go there now, you know, just down the street, and it's all changed. It's all liquid light, and it looks really pretty. It looks brand new. Maybe they just painted the place, and you know, things are brighter. You're going to old places that were old, and all of a sudden they're looking new. You're traveling somewhere, and like a whole rebuild has happened. You're traveling to forest, and there's new color in the forest. So you know, I think a week ago was reminded to hop on here and do a grounding point exercise to see where most of your essence wanted to be grounded at and concentrated at. Which frequency doorway are you mostly, working with? Or is it all space all time that you're grounded in through space? Out of the old typical root grounding, just grounded into the ground. And I bring that up as we come to a completion here, because I'm feeling like we're almost done here. As you're practicing being in higher grounding patterns, meaning you're grounded at a higher frequency and still feeling like, okay, I'm good. As you're able to maintain and sustain these higher frequency patterns and feel grounded in it, feel stellar, feel stable, we are finding that we're able then to build out worlds and build out larger, over larger mass, over larger continents, as well as birthing new continents and birthing new spaces and places. So this seems like a dreamtime assignment or a meditation assignment to do with yourself, is to see what continents you are birthing. What new spaces and places are you birthing? What does that mean to you? So I'll leave you with that. Sending all lots of love, lots of light. And I know there was probably more that wanted to come, but it'll come through you all, or it come on another live. But it's time to talk quantum mechanics. I love you.